Legal services are critical for a company. Legal services are critical to decrease liability, decrease exposure. We can even put money right directly in the hands of companies by having good, sound legal advice. The other thing is grave mistakes are made if you've not consulted a lawyer, right? If you're forming in a certain way or you're not paying attention to your tax liability at the end of the year, that can be a real problem. Yeah. If you don't understand the at-will doctrine in terms of employees and you mistakenly convert an at-will employee into a contract employee, all of a sudden you're saddled with quite a burden, right?
Absolutely.
So there are all sorts of issues that can happen if you don't consult the appropriate legal resource.
And James, I'll add that we talk about small business, but to these business owners, it's huge. Often it's their life savings, if they have any, that they're leveraged heavily. And so, and they're also wearing many hats.
That's right.
And so sometimes just on our side, legally reviewing, it's hard to take the time to go through a 40-page lease, which we're going to say that's a small lease, but to a business owner, that's a heavy document.
Yeah,
and it's going to be expensive to review that.
It's not just a heavy document. It's a jigsaw puzzle. Yeah. It is a difficult document for them to read. And I think what happens oftentimes is there may be an intent to really dig into this. They start at it, but they realize, oh my gosh, I've got 3 pages of definitions. Where do I go with this, right? Yes. And they get discouraged about it.
From my experience, most of my background in tenant representation was with smaller businesses. And I got to tell you, 98% of them did not want to use an attorney. I would advise, because by law we have to advise you need to use an attorney.
Yeah.
But they'd say, how much does that cost?
Right.
No, thanks. James, just tell me the business points, right?
Yeah.
But you're offering a real solution. So let's tell the viewers out there, how do I take advantage of this process that you guys have put together?
Sure. You contact Husch Blackwell. You contact me, for example. In very short order, we will have a intake tool online. Right now, the way that you get a hold of these resources is you contact me directly, Quincy McNeal. But in very short order, we will have a intake tool directly online. You go online to our website, you apply for it. There's some questions there. It's meant to be, it's intentionally the online intake process. It's meant to be easy to get through. It's spiffy. I like to say spiffy because it looks pretty, but we have the right questions on there to help us assess the business. You got to be a minority-owned company. You've got to be a company that cannot afford legal services, or the payment of legal services would greatly reduce your resources. And you've got to be a company that's got some vision about the future. I like to say that you're in it to win it, right? This isn't a side hustle. This is something I'm doing full-time, and I want to have employees if I don't already have employees. And you got to be offering value to the community. That's either in employees, in the service that you provide, or it's in some other works. We've seen some of these companies doing philanthropic works. That is a value add. So I hope you can see that we are not trying to eliminate people. We are trying to get to yes.
Yes. That's awesome. So to be clear, it's not just for lease reviews. You're talking about a whole plethora of services here.
For certain, for sure. We are talking about corporate formation. We're talking about corporate governance documents. You got to be formed. If you're already formed, perhaps you are not fully aware of what your governing documents mean. Well, that's critical. What happens when the partners disagree?
Absolutely.
Right? There are issues like that. We have to have divorce provisions within our governing documents. Every company, or just about every company, is dealing with contracts, right? These contracts govern the relationships between their clients, their suppliers, their employees maybe. We need to take a critical look at those contracts to make sure that they are protecting your interest. You'd be surprised that some of these small business owners are taking something off the internet. Yes. They're revising it with a pen, and they're sending it over to someone else. That is not the correct thing to do. So we want to take a look at that. We want to certify you as a minority business. We want to provide you with employment law advice because you should know what you can and cannot fire someone for.
Right.
You should know that there are employee handbooks that are good to have. And we also want to provide you with some intellectual property advice. You might be sitting on top of your greatest asset, but it's unprotected. So those are some of the things. So the lease review is only one aspect of it, but lease reviews get to contracts, right? And because a law firm of our stature and our size deals with contracts each and every day, and we have a very large real estate section and commercial lease section, we can absolutely do that.
And James, Husch Blackwell is an outstanding firm with a great reputation.
Absolutely.
So you would be getting the resources of a Fortune 500 company type firm to represent you. And I'll say this, I am not just a recovering